I.S.U.P.K.
In the UK, what's the common thing everyone hears? As soon as you say the Bible, King James was gay, he was a homosexual, he wrote the Bible, inserted things in. So this lecture is going to get into all of that. And once this lecture is done, for someone to not see this, then it's clearly just a thing of they don't want to see, because we're going to go into facts, not the internet, not YouTube, and watching them, you know what I mean, a lot, and watch what one person says here and there. We're going to go into facts, records, books, you know what I mean, so that's what we're going to do. So you know what I mean, the first off, I want to be with everyone, I mean, so Karafia, the Caravans, the Patricks, the Ashers, everyone, you know what I mean, also being able to come as well. So if you kind of go to the first slide. So now, you know what I mean, one concept people have which is wrong is King James was white. According to history, according to images, recorded factual images, King James was a black man. As you can see here, the first one on the left, you see hair like wool, you know what I mean? And this one, this is another image, but this time he has his crown on his head. And this ain't something that someone made up. At the bottom, they let you know where you can find it in the Scots New Edinburgh, UK. So this ain't something that I've made and just presented to you. These are facts. These are images that do exist and they have a valid background too. If you can just go to the next slide. So in today's lecture, we're going to discuss everything on King James and you know what I mean, the King James Bible as well. So first off, is King James white? We've already gone through that. We have factual images showing you that he was black. But of course, that's not enough. I'm going to go into history, archives, records, things that a lot of people that say he's white don't do. All they do is to show you, look, I've been look at him, he's white, but not realizing that image you see ain't the original. And we're going to go into history on that as well. Was he gay? Did he do witchcraft? And did he write the Bible as well? Then the last one is the King James Bible a credible translation as well? Because some people go, you mean he inserted things, he done so much. And again, all these things people say and can't provide no proof, to where people say and they believe it's fact. And then now when you ask, okay then, where can I read about this? Everyone knows, man, come on man, you know what I mean? And that's not proof. Everyone knows ain't fact. You know what I mean? When does that become fact? It does not. If you can just go to this one, please.
In the black community, these are always common standards. People say on King James, on the Bible, with no absolute proof. Facebook and YouTube are not valid sources of information.
And there you go. That's another thing, you know what I mean? Every time you ask one, so, you know what I mean? I want to find out where you got this from. What's the first thing they always say? Look, brother, this is what you need to do. Go on YouTube and just look it up, man. Just, you know what I mean? Just type King James gay and down. I meant to watch some video that someone made and who is that person? Doesn't even read books. Like, I mean, like, what information have they got to even make that video? And you notice a lot of them don't. A lot of them videos are opinions, is what they want to believe, but none of it is records, none of it is facts. Read on.
A lot of these arguments are based on fallacies.
What?
Fallacies.
A fallacy. Now we're going to show you what that is. Next slide. So a fallacy, you might not be able to see these guys here, but these guys were like Greek people that like to they like to debate back in their time. You can see the names there.
Yeah,
Aristotle,
Plato, Socrates, and Aristotle.
Aristotle. So now these are men that love to debate. They were everywhere. Just going all over the world, seeing debates and just seeing things, and they came up with all these concepts of what someone does, and basically in a debate, it's not the right to do. If you want to read that, a fallacy.
A fallacy is used of invalid or otherwise faulty reasoning.
So it's a reason that's not right. So meaning we're having a debate and you're doing something that isn't right. It don't make sense for you to be doing in the debate that we're having. Read on.
Or wrong moves in construction of an argument. A fallacious argument may be deceptive.
And that's another thing, is a deceptive thing. A lot of people say King James is white, homosexual, the Bible, this and that. That's a deceptive thing there, because a lot of them say, and there's no evidence. They're looking at someone and go, look, this is fact. A lot of it is opinion, it's just how they think to fit the agenda of what they think is right. Read on.
By appearing to be better than it really is.
Alright, so now we're going to get some of them, so we're not going to get every single one, but just some that fit the point that we're trying to make right now. Next one. So one here is the ad hominem one. If you want to read that, the ad
hominem fallacy. When people think of arguments, often they first thought it's of shouting matches riddled with personal attacks.
And that's the problem. That's one that people love to use. They ask you something, you're about to go, okay then, this is how it went. All of a sudden what happens, they start to shout and start to say, you read the Bible. All that is a distraction from you showing that they're wrong. And that's what they do. And even back then, people have done this. And even now when you talk about the James family, the Bible, people use that same one, the ad hominem one, even till this very day, man. Read on.
Ironically, personal attacks run contrary to rational arguments.
And so now they avoid trying to debate the matter at hand. Now it's about you and and now it's not about what it's really about. That's another one where we read the appeal to ignorance.
Appeal to ignorance, argumentum and ignorantanium.
Ignorantanium. So now, of course, that's the Greek way of like to pronounce that word. Read on.
Anytime ignorance is used as a major premise in support of an argument, it's liable to be a fallacy. Appeal to ignorance.
Okay, so now what does that really mean? Meaning you're saying something and you're aware that the people don't really know. So when you got someone saying King James is gay, a lot of people don't research for themselves, and that's what you do there. You're appealing to the ignorance of someone. You're using something and well, they don't really know, so I'm going to say it loud and confident. No, really, whoever I say to, they don't really know anything else. So of course, that's going to make me seem right, and that's something that a lot of us use, and it's wrong. Read on.
Naturally, we are all ignorant of many things, but it is cheap and manipulative to allow this unfortunate aspect of the human condition to do most of our heavy lifting in an argument.
So now, that's another one that they do. They rely on you not to know, so that basically they can win. The next one.
Circular argument, when a person's argument is just repeating what they already assumed beforehand.
And that's another thing that they like to do. You're going to show them evidence. What happens once they look at it? What do they all do? They go back to what they said, and you're like, yeah, but I've already answered that. Yeah, but that means that you answer it again. They go back to it. That's another thing that people like to do, to deny facts, to not actually, accept the information that they've received. So they like to go round and round. You answer it, they go back to it again. The next one.
False dilemma. This fallacy has a few other names: black and white fallacy, either or fallacy, false dichotomy, the bifurcation fallacy. This line of reasoning fails by limiting the options of two when there are in fact more options to choose from.
Alright, so what does that mean? Meaning, in a debate, someone would say something and go, look, that obviously means that, and no, it doesn't. There's a lot, much more. Like an example, in the Bible, some people like to read a verse. In the Bible, God is the Son. You know what I mean? That's one that people like to use. You see, he says it there, not reading a verse up above and really it means something else. They like to read it and go, you see, that means that, when really, there's a lot more other ways that can go.
That, like the King James, that people say is God's rule was next to his, and they go, that means gay. Not knowing why it could be there, the reason, not any other reason why his rule next to his. And that's right. I was going to say, it has to be that.
And that's right, they have it, and that's the one that they like to use. They say dictamony, meaning you present something and you say that can only mean that, when it don't mean that. You know what I mean? People like to read the Bible, I'm the God of Egypt, not knowing that he's talking to Israelites about he got them out of Egypt, and when they present it to you, you see, that means that. That's a false dictamony right there. And the same way people do it now, people did it back then, that's why they read about this. So now, with those men, they were everywhere seeing debates, arguments, and they had to write about these things and go, well, obviously, in an argument, that's not constructive. Next one. Hasty generalization.
Hasty generalizations. Hasty generalizations are general statements without sufficient evidence to support them.
And now that's another thing. Now, you know what I mean? I'm not talking about no one else. I'm talking about us, Israelites, Jews. You know what I mean? We have that same issue right there. We like to read something and not, you know what I mean, make sure it's fact. Just, yeah, I seen this, that's fact. And that falls into that category right there. You're hasty with the information that you receive. Read on.
They are general claims, too hastily made. Hence, that commit some sort of illicit assumption.
Assumption. You are, you know what I mean? You probably read something or saw something for, that's fact. Nah, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? That is 100% fact. And it's not, you're hasty in the information that you receive. Read on.
Stereotyping, unwarranted conclusion, overstatement or exaggeration.
Exaggeration, like what he said, just because his bedroom is next to someone else, they can see he's, you know what I mean, he's gay when that's an exaggeration. No one knows why, but in the lecture we're going to get into that, of course, so I don't want to explain it now. Read the last one, the red herring.
A red herring is a distraction from the argument, typically with some sentiment that seems to be relevant but isn't really on topic.
And now that's another one that people like to use, red herrings, meaning you're debating them and then they start to go into stuff which is not in the argument. We're arguing about the Bible, King James, and then what happens? Someone starts talking about Africa, who are we? And we're not on about that. And them things are red herrings. Why? Because people don't want to deal with that matter at hand. So they first start with that, but then it jumps here, then it jumps there, then we're going to go into here. And read all that just to avoid the basic thing we was on about. Read on.
Typically, the distraction sounds relevant, but isn't quite on topic.
And that's key. It sounds relevant. You know what I mean? Us being Africans and all that stuff. Yeah, it may sound relevant, but right now, we're not on about that. We're on about the Bible, King James, but yeah, people want to take it somewhere else. You know what I mean? Read on.
This tactic is common when someone doesn't like the current topic.
They don't what?
When someone doesn't like the current topic.
So because they don't like it, you're about to show that they're wrong, so what do? It's just natural for them to want to jump to something else. Read on.
And wants to detour into something else instead. Something easier and safer to address.
Okay. That's and that. Anything you want to bring up that way?
We got other ones.
Alright, no sweat. Read that part. Let's get into King James with the evidence, the proof, man. You know what I mean? I'm gonna do something what a lot of them don't do. Show you history and facts. It's easy just to say how you feel, but when you read it and you go, well, look, that's that. That's when it becomes something else. Next page.
When Scotland was Jewish, King James himself was a Jew from the tribe of Judah.
If you can read the highlight part from that.
I
did read it.
All kings of Scotland have this understanding, and this is the origins of Scotland, and it's section the forgotten monarchy of Scotland. The Stuart family, maternal line in France, was descended from the tribe of Judah.
Where?
From the tribe of Judah.
There's now, have in mind, King James, he come from that family and they knew who they were. They was Jews. They was not African. They was Israelites, Hebrew Israelites, Jews, and they knew who they was. They knew their history. Now, this is a book that obviously I don't have it here now, but it's a book that I would recommend, It goes into where they originated from, and it's a book that I would recommend, and it lets you know, where like he originated from and his family,
He believes his family is of Davidic ancestry.
So now he believed also that the family that he was in came exactly from King David's line,
That is from the Jewish King David.
From the Jew King David. So so he didn't just believe that he was a Jew, he even believed that his line stemmed back to the king, man, But that's it, and let's get the next slide. And this is another book which some people may know, some people may not know. Nature knows no other line. It's a good book, shows the coats of arms and a lot of valuable info as well. If you want to read it for me.
Nature Knows No Color Line from J.A. Rogers, page 122. Most of the Negro strain in Northern Europe and Russia was taken in by the Jews.
So now just letting you know that whenever you see like something and like someone looks dark skinned, that was because of the Israelites, Jews, not Africans, not no one else. So when you look at something and go, right, that man looks black, that's because it's a Jew. And let you know that. So now what you'll see, if you do see someone who's dark in maybe old Ferrance icon, that most likely is a Jew because they came with that charade,
Inspired of religious prejudice against them, intermarried with Christians, as Maurice Fishburne in his comprehensive study.
Okay, let's read the next one, the 130th page.
Page 130. Settled in the West Indies, John Bigelow, who visited Jamaica in 1850, saw the descendants of these Jews and says that they were Negroids.
So now, basically, with this man, he went to the West Indies and he saw us, and he knew who he was. He knew that we was an African, we was Jews. He saw us and goes, yeah. He saw us and goes, yeah, they're Negroid. So now, when you read the Bible ain't no white man book because this man, he knew who he was. He went to the West Indies, saw us and goes, yeah, we the Jews, they're black. Why? Because I'm in the West Indies looking at them right now. Read on.
The Eastern Jews who settled in Austria, Poland, and Russia were Negroid too.
We're Negroid. So now in some next slides, we're going to get into that, and we're going to show you that these Jews in the Russia, the Poland, they were black. So we're going to get to that as we stroll on. Scroll up for me.
And this is the Kopp family, coats of arms. Kopp is a German nation which is derived from the Hebrew, which means Jacob.
So now, as we read in the book that, we came into a lot of those lands, and this house here, they knew that they was Israelite Jews, and now they see, that's so now that's the coats of arms right there, Kopp, and as you look at the man's face, it's black, and if we can make it up, the links on top, the house of names, Kopp family crest, that has everyone's crest. Some are white, some are black, so it's not something that is trying to make everyone black. But with this house here, they was black, and guess what? They was Jews. Read up.
Which means to supplant. It is the medieval family that came to Germany in the 13th century and brought many developments to the nation.
There, and that's fact. You can look it up yourself. It's not an opinion. It's not what I believe. It's not what I want it to be. This is history right here. Next slide. So now this is another book. Now with the guy that wrote this book, he's a white man. So now what it has in here, it's going to make my point, but with this guy, he's not of us. He's a white Irishman, and he does some research, and even he knew that now, like a lot of what we've been taught about England, Scotland, Ireland is a lie, and he lets you know about this in this book. Read up.
We have shown that King James is a Jew. But now we're going to show that his parents and his family way back was black also. Page 206.
Right, you might want to get it out of the book because that's kind of small. Don't worry, you're not going to read all of it, just the main points. Yeah, if you want, from the highlight parts.
But it is only with Barber's description of his complexion that we have to do here. And this, he says, was Smendro grey and hair was black, as already stated in God's craft remarks.
Okay, so now the reason why we're reading this part because some people they debate on if someone was white or not, Now, they're saying, how do we know that this guy was a Jew, someone who was black, and he's going to explain. So now, at this time, there was a debate on this guy who, as we read down, it'll say the name, I'm not familiar at the moment, but yeah, it'll explain why he was black, as we read down. Read.
He said to have been of a black or swart complexion.
Yes, now, it was said, so now, first they had a debate, and then someone goes, no, this guy was said to be of a dark, you mean, yeah, read down?
Complexion, an expression somewhat stronger than that used by the barber. This dusky skin earned for him, says the historian, the title of the Black Douglas.
The Black Douglas. So he wasn't caught up because he was wicked and evil. He was caught up because he was black. And we're gonna also get into that. Back in them days, your name was from your attributes or how you looked. It's not like now where we have a last name and it doesn't really mean anything. Back then, your last name represented something, man. Read on.
And although the good Sir James, to his friends, he was such a terror to his foes, that their most troublesome children could at once he rushed into good behavior.
No sweat. Read the next one. Thus indeed, or did you read it already?
There indeed every reason to believe that he served no more to distinguish him from other Black Douglases, the black man.
There, so now even they knew that, you know what I mean? He didn't get that name because he was wicked. It's because he was a black man, and this is a white man that's writing this. He's saying, you know what I mean? The reason why they had these names was simply because of how they looked. They was black. Read on.
Would separate one out of whole tribe of black men. We see by this looking at the chiefs of the clan without even taking their followers into consideration.
Okay, read this one.
Accordingly, we have 3 successive chiefs of the clan and another in the following century, all styled the Black Douglases.
All styled. The reason why all of them had a name because they was black. It wasn't because it was just handed down. They all got it simply because of the color that they was black. Read on.
Or what is equal to that on the account of their swarthy complexion.
The what?
Swarthy complexion.
So a question, what does swarthy mean? If someone says like swat, or what did the swastika, does anyone know what that means? A swastika.
Black.
It means black. And swarthy and swats mean the same thing, black. So he was swarthy, meaning he was black. So even this white man, he acknowledges that a lot of these guys that was around, they was black.
Out of many, and whether the romance in which it occurs he wholly fictitious or almost wholly true.
Almost wholly true, so meaning some people debate over, is that a fact or is it a lie? As you know what I mean, as we say, if you say that to someone, they go, listen, England's a white man's country. What, you know what I mean? What are you on about? Some people see it as fictitious, like, please. But according to history and facts, it is really true. Read on.
Elizabeth of Dunbar is a descendant of Black Angus, who defended the old castle in the days of the second David against the arms of Duke of Salisbury. And Elizabeth of Douglas cannot fail to have in her some portion of blood of the Black Earl who fell in Spain.
I got it. So now he's giving some examples of people that was obviously black. Read on.
Your surname was an indication to what colour you was. Douglas, Doug, and many others which mean black, was in reality referring to complexion of the skin.
Alright, let's get the next slide.
The last chief of the black divisions of the Douglases, the main stem of the Douglas tree was James, 9th Earl.
So now that's key because with the king, yes, yeah, he had that last name, Ames, but before that it was called the Oculus. So now that's very key because now we know that even before them, they was black, so his granddad's black, great granddad's black, and that's where the Douglas line originates, and then it became the James line. You know? He
had succeeded his elder brother in 1452, and his first act after assuming chiefship was to take up arms against the king, James II.
I got it. No, so that goes into what he done. Let's just get the next one.
The Douglases themselves were a gang of black Moravian Moors or gypsies, certainly on an extensive scale.
Yeah, and the Moor just means black. So that's just another term that people had for them.
Yeah.
So now it lets you know that there was a people that was obviously black, and the Douglas family, as they produced, then you got the James family. Next slide. So now this is another book. For those of you that don't know, this book was banned in the UK. There was an article about it. Some people deemed it racist and all that. So if you want to buy this book, you have to buy it off him directly. Dr. John L. Johnson. You know what I mean? And you can also ring him up and you know what I mean. Like is a guy that he'll get into with you. He'll talk about it. You know what I mean? But this is another good book as well. If you want to read it for me, Dr. L. Johnson.
Dr. L. Johnson, he also knew that your last name was based on your appearance or your trade.
So now, of course, we're not going to read all this, but at the back of the book, you have the, what's that called, the vocabulary, and all that is black. And I mean, if you read them all in your own time, and you mean all these were people's last names in Scotland alone, all indicating people that was black. You got Dub, Dubkin, Duffy, Dudley, all these things was representing people that was black, and that's the vocabulary at the back. Next slide. You want to read that for me?
The Scots, the Black Scots and the Red Scots and Black Scots. I had doubt we, the Red Scot, and doubt we the Black.
Okay, so now this is like a little song that they have, and if you notice, why it's saying Black Scots, Red Scots, what's the point of that? What are they trying to let you know? In the song?
Between black people and white people in Scotland.
That's right. So even they know in like this song right here, read on.
The Red Scot is angry among the sons, men, he'll pay you a Barbie and steal it back again. The Black Scots and the Red Scots and the Black Scots, we have dealt with the Red Scot and dealt with the Black.
So now, for those that don't know the origin of the song, it's a man that, you know what I mean, he goes around and he sounds like hey, he sounds like he sounds, basically like, his job is to basically just like do others. So now he's saying, look man, I deal with the Red Scots, I deal with the ones that are black. But the point being is, he's making a distinguishing between Black Scots and Red Scots, which would be White Scots. Next slide. So now, even before King James, a lot of you may argue with this, but we're going to show you facts. Even so-called Anglo-Saxons, they were black, and we're going to get into that too. Read on.
Many simply cannot believe the plain records of the ancient people who came to the British Isles. They just can't seem to believe that the peoples could really have descendants of Shem.
So now that's one thing. The Anglo-Saxons said that they come from Shem. Now in the Bible, Africans come from Ham. So the Anglo-Saxons were saying we're Hamites, we're Africans. They're like, nah, we come from Shem. You want me to read on?
We shall notice the same tendency for the critics of early Scotch-Irish history. They think the early history, which called folklore.
So now, some people don't believe it's fact. They go, look man, that's just something they had from years back, but is it really true? Read on.
Of these people cannot be true when it connects to such people directly with the lands of people mentioned in the Bible. However, Alfred the Great, who himself, a Saxon, traced his genealogy right back to Shem.
Right back to Shem. So now they did not call themselves Hamitic. They knew that they were from Shem, Israelites, Hebrews. When you read the Bible, Israelites come from the line of Shem, not Ham, which is the father of the Africans. That we see. Next slide. So now here's where you can find it from the church historians of the England annuals. So it's nothing I just written myself, which says that the Anglo-Saxons knew that they came from Shem. They was of a Shemitic descent. So you can read it in your own time. Go to the next slide. People were saying the same thing, so no point. So now this is another book written by a white man, The Origins of the Anglo-Saxon Race. And he's gonna let you know that the Anglo-Saxons that you see on the films ain't the Anglo-Saxons that are in history. Anglo-Saxons, they were black people, man. You got to tell me.
Brunsfold is another suggested name. Brunman is mentioned as a personal name in Anglo-Saxon records. Of the 11th century, and examples of the name burning are somewhat numerous in the documents of the same period. At the present time of the old place names, of which the word bronze forms the chief priest, such as Brunswick or Brunswick, are common in Germany. The custom of calling people by colour names.
What?
By colour names.
So even he knew that a lot of names that the Anglo-Saxons had, it was because of how they looked. You know what I mean? They was black. You know?
From their personal appearance.
From what?
From their personal appearance.
Their personal appearance, meaning how you looked. So someone look at you and they go, I'm gonna call you McDub, for argument. You know what I mean? Son of the black. That's what it means. So the names alone show who they were. Rita.
Or places after them was clearly not particular to our own country. It is possible that the Brunswick was derived from the brown complexion of the origin inhabitants.
The origin inhabitants, here that the original Anglo-Saxons, they wasn't white. What you see in the films, Hollywood, you know what I mean? That's what the Anglo-Saxons, according to history. Next page.
The consideration of the probable origin of the great proportion of the brunettes in the two South Midland countries of England.
The Midland country, so we're in the Midlands right now, where even back then they had, and he knows that these people that was here, they was not white. Rita.
Leads us to the colour names as surnames and places which may probably be derived from their original settlers. For example, the common name Brown. This has been derived from the Anglo-Saxon Brun, signifying brown.
So now, a lot of them, that was their last names. He's saying like, why do so many of them have that same last name? And going to explain why. You know?
It is not reasonable to doubt that when our forefathers called a man Brun or Brown, they gave him his name as descriptive to his brown complexion.
There, so your last name represented how you looked. So if you was like the Black Earl, Black Douglas, it was simply because of how you looked. Next slide. So now, remember when I read a part about, you know what I mean, like, even though we see a lot of these images and they're white, we're going to explain how it got that way. So if you want to read from the top.
Many historians try to cover the history of that black Jews ruled Europe, though whitewash paintings and distortions of history.
Alright, so there's a book called the Russian Icons, and these are the images that you'll see right here. Sean, are you good? Alright, yeah, so now, in this book, this is the original one. I see, or you may not be able to see, everyone's dark. You know what I mean? Everyone's face, even Christ right there, he's in the middle. You know what I mean? Everyone's dark. I don't know if for the projector to say. Now, when they finish whitewashing it, you know what I mean? Everyone's white now, got long, thin hair, etc. This is another one. You know what I mean? Again, everyone dark in this, but then when they finish whitewashing it, they end up making it look like something else. You know what I mean? And also in that same book, it lets you know that many of them was whitewashed. It has that exact word in the Russian book. So even the author knows that really a lot of the images that you may see now wasn't always like that. Next slide. So now here again in the same book, this is the original painting right here of the Messiah. Then now here, you can see this Greek guy here. He basically painting the white one, but look behind him, there's a black image there. Even behind him again, there's black images. And that's what they do, that's how they whitewash it. They basically paint them white, but look, even behind him, there's black images.
So the black images behind him are the pictures he got to get.
That's right, yeah. So of course, this was taken years ago, so his done got to them, you know what I mean? They're already whitewashed, long blonde hair and that. They're history now. And then once it's done, you end up with this. So now, you know what I mean, when people go, you know what I mean, in the Bible, it's a white man's book. This is the original painting. You know what I mean? This is lately, this is recent in if you compare that one to the one on the left, and it's evident to see, he painted that one white, but behind him are clearly black images. Next slide. So now let's get back to the book from page 83 on. So as I said before, the coats of arms represented like the family of someone who was rich. So now this is all in like the UK alone, all up in Canterbury, Scotland, Edinburgh, Yorkshire, Hull. You know what I mean? These are all, well, they're not all, but these are some of the coats of arms of the family that was rich in the UK around these times. Next slide. Again, the coats of arms, noble families, coats of arms. So look, you know, so now this is what you would see, but of course you don't see a lot of this. Why? Because from the slide before about that guy destroyed almost 100% of the artwork. Read up. Again, more, you know what I mean, all over the place. More. Next slide. So now, this is another famous guy, Saint George. Does anyone know about this guy or have any history on like who he is? Saint George.
I know the guy on the sovereigns. Sovereigns.
Sovereigns, yeah, that's him. But who knows what he did or allegedly what he did? He's a dragon slayer, so can anyone catch on to that? Or what did he allegedly do?
Kill a dragon.
Yeah, so-called. No one knows if that's fact, but allegedly he went to save someone who's being attacked by some big beast. But you know what I mean? They say it's a dragon, and you know what I mean? He defeated it, and because of that, he got a name for himself. You know what I mean? And you have some. Alright, so now in this same book, well, not the same book, this is a different book here, the arts and all that. Look, Saint George plan, you know what I mean? History and some of the art that remains shows that too. Next slide. Again, out of the same book. You know what I mean? If you know about this guy, Ivan, you know what I mean? He's meant to be allegedly a madman who hacked his son to bits and all that. And you know what I mean? According to this book, and you know what I mean? There's the art. You may not be able to see it here, but they're having a war, and he's on his horse right in front. And if you look at this image, all the men that are going to war with this man are black. You know what I mean? Next slide. Ivan the Terrible was you know what I mean? He was a dark man. Why? Because history shows that nothing I'm making up, which is something a lot of people can't do. A lot of it comes to opinion and how they feel instead of something that historically can be backed up. So now we've gotten to you about James, he's not white. That's one part of the lecture. Now we're going to get into the Bible. What's the common thing people always say? King James wrote the Bible. And that's sad because historically that's incorrect. King James did not write no Bible. You know what I mean? And what's the main thing I say? He authorized the Bible. And I don't want to bring on heart, but that don't mean what they think it means. You know what I mean? And we're going to explain, we're going to get the definition of the word authorizer, not author, authorizer. You got to call me.
Author, a writer of a book, article, or document.
Yes, now that's if you write something. Now let's see what authorizer means. Remember, it's an authorized King James Bible. Let's see what authorizer means.
Authorizer, authority who authorizes people or actions.
What?
Authorizes people or actions.
So then how did he write the Bible? He authorized the Bible, meaning he commissioned people to translate the Bible. He's like, look, I'm the king. I want you lot to, you know what I mean, read the Hebrew, read the Greek, and basically make this simple as author and authorizer don't mean the same thing. People go, you're reading the authorized King James Bible, he wrote the Bible. Authorized don't mean that. So you know what I mean, what are they on about? Authorizer don't mean you wrote it. Authorizer means you know what I mean, you're basically like, you're saying to someone, look, I want this done. That's what authorizer means. He's not the author of the Bible. And that's the problem. You know what I mean? A lot of people that like to debate and all that, they don't know the definition of words. So they read the authorized King James Bible. He wrote it, and authorizer does not mean that. Do we read on?
The agents report back to authorizers. Synonyms: authorizer, authority.
Authority. So meaning he said, you know what? I want it translated out of the Hebrew, the Greek, into a language that we can read. That's all it means. So he did not write nothing. Read on.
Control over others. Person who exercises.
Yeah, that's in that. So just read it for me. So now, you know what I mean? So that's key. So with James, he's not the author of the Bible. He authorized the translation of the Bible. And that's sad because, you know what I mean? While like we do this work, a lot of people that come up to us, you know what I mean? Some of them are big men. And you know what I mean? You're saying, look man, I read the Bible. You read the Bible, King James authorized the Bible. He wrote it, and as an adult, you don't know what authorized means. You don't know what authorized means. And that's the problem. A lot of people like to argue and debate. You know what I mean? They're not looking into stuff. They have their opinions and how they feel, and the facts and the definitions of words speak for itself. Next slide.
Why the authorized translation?
So now again, this is history. This is a book. It's a good book you can buy about the history of the translation. So you know what I mean? It's good, nice and short, nothing long. You know what I mean? No one that wants to read a book with 1,000 pages. You know what I mean? Just nice and short and very concise. You read that for me.
The actions of one man in this critical moment of time would reshape the language of the Christian faith and initiate a new Bible translation that will come to be known as England's greatest literary achievement, John Reynolds.
John Reynolds. Now, with this man, the reason why he's known is because he's behind it. He said something that the king could not say is wrong, which as we read on, it will speak for itself. We're going to find out what this man did, which was so great, why he's mentioned. Read on.
I would that England had one uniform translation that I have ever yet seen, a Bible.
So now with this man, he's like, look man, I just want to read one that, you know what I mean, everyone can read, not one that's, you know what I mean, it's like the agenda of someone else. Just one that says what it says. And with that man, he said that to the King James, and he couldn't disagree. He's like, yeah, fine, you know what I mean, if that's what you believe is going to work, then let's do that. Read on.
A Bible well translated in English. And I think the Geneva is the worst of all.
So now that's another Bible which, you know what I mean, you can look it up. It's not really the best, you know what I mean, if you read it, a lot of it doesn't really match up to the ancient Hebrew and like the original languages. So now with this man, it's like, look man, that's bad. So, you know what I mean, we just need one that says what it says, the words mean what it means, and you know what I mean, with that we'll be fine. You know?
Had a pin dropped to the floor, all those present in the Hampton Court Palace Hall that day would have heard it.
Yes, now when this is that everyone's shocked, like, you know what? That makes sense. Just you know what I mean, just one that just says what it says, not the opinions or something else of someone else. Just you know what I mean, it's just one that it's just right, you know what I mean? It says what it says, and basically that's it. You know?
The king raised his arm and extended a finger of warning at the group. This new translation must not be burdened with marginal notes.
With marginal notes. Because that's another thing. A lot of them that you buy, it's always the philosophy of someone else. You read one verse, what's there, some notes. Well, you go here and read this, that means that. So this guy's like, look, I don't want a Bible like that. I just want one that is just, you know what I mean? It just says what it says. And everyone's like, you know what? That's a good idea. Read on.
Come on. Untrue, seditious, treacherous toward kingship, but rather must spread the idea of divine rule by monarchs. The king had thrown down the gauntlet. He had commissioned a new translation with a new mission.
And then, so now from there, he commissioned, is like, you know what? That's a great idea. Just a Bible that says what it says. The words are accurately right, you know what I mean? So from the Hebrew, in the English, it's saying the right thing. No notes, no philosophy on it. Just a Bible that says what it says. So you know what I mean? So how did King James write the Bible? You know what I mean? He was in a council, and this guy says something that he couldn't deny. That, you know what? For like this land, that's all what we need. Next slide. So now, we read the last slide about just a Bible that says what it says. Now, these are the types that you get. So now, the best Bibles, of course, are the word for words, which the King James is there, and like some others. And that's the best Bibles, word for word, meaning when you look in the original, and you look at what has been, and now you look at it in the language that you read, it makes sense. It's word for word. Like yeah, it's right. Now a thought for thought, that's not good. A thought for thought meaning someone looked at the original language. I think that means that, and then they translate it. That's not a good Bible, of course. That's a thought for thought meaning you think this, and I'm gonna just write it like that. A thought for thought Bible ain't no good. Where of course, if you look at some of those there, NIV, everyone knows that's a bad one. You know what I mean? Why? Because they're talking out Matthew 18 and some other verses, one in Luke 16. Why? Because that Bible is a thought for thought, meaning that Bible ain't good, and basically when they worked on it, it wasn't really accurately done. It was more based on thoughts instead of word for word, which is what you see over here. And then the Bibles over here don't even bother. They just basically reason it. That means that, okay, and to write it there. So they're the Bibles that you don't want to read. So now with the KJV, that's you know what I mean? That one is really good. It's a word for word, which no one can really debate against unless you know original languages, the Hebrew, the Greek. You have something, brother? Oh no, go back. I thought you were raise your hand. Next slide. So read it for me, Acts 11 and 26.
Acts 11:26. And when he had found him, he brought him unto Antioch. And it came to pass that a whole year assembled themselves with the church and taught much people. And the disciples were called Christians first in Antioch.
So now that's key. Why? Because what you're going to learn is that with the KJV that we read, the original manuscripts came from that same place. And as you look at the map, Antioch is right here. So now, you know what I mean? In the time of Acts, the disciples, they were here and taught. And to know that original manuscripts are there where they taught, that's historically right. So now, you know what I mean? You read Acts, and then even when you read something that just lets you know about this part of the world, original Bible manuscripts are there. Isaiah's there, all of them. Paul, Ephesians, Revelation, all of that is right here. Next slide. So now, this is the manuscripts, the received text. That's the Latin way of saying it. So this is where the original manuscripts came, where the so-called KJV, you know what I mean, they basically got it from. So you know what I mean, so now, of course, that's in another language, so they translated it into the English language. So now, historically, that's where they got it from. Read that for me.
The TITHES Receptus is the name given to the succession of printed Greek texts of the New Testament. The term TITHES Receptus may also apply to other ancient texts in other languages. Traditionally copied and passed down by scribes, the biblical TITHES Receptus constituted the translation base of the original German Luther Bible.
So that's another one there that also they use the same TITHES Receptus. Read on.
The translation of the New Testament into English by William Tyndale, the King James Version, the Spanish Reina Valera translation, and the most Reformed era New Testament translation.
So now, the reason why people like this one is because they know it's accurate, they know it's right. That's why people use the TITHES Receptus, aka the received text, because then that is a valid source. You know what I mean? Next slide. So this is another book called Defending the King James Bible. You know what I mean? Now, of course, this book goes really in depth, but I don't want to make it exhausting. So I'm going to get one part of it. So now, the men that knew the original languages, they were experts at what they did, and we're going to find out about some of these men, how great they was. Because you got people go, no, it's wrong. He inserted this, he inserted that, and they can't understand no language. But the people that made sure that they got it from one language into another language, they was experts at what they did, and we're going to read that from this book.
We believe that King James Bible is based on a superior New Testament text. We believe this for two reasons. The first is that the TITHES Receptus that underlying the King James Bible was accepted by churches.
It was accepted, so even they knew that that manuscript is a very good source. You know what I mean? So that's one reason how you know that the Bible ain't been injected with this and that, because you have a original manuscript for you to go back to. Let's read on.
Secondly, the text receptors that underline the King James Bible, attested by evidence before taking of these two main divisions. Let us look at the background of the information.
Okay, read that please.
The text which is used today in many colleges, universities, seminaries, even conservative or fundamental ones, the Nestle of Greek New Testament 26th edition. It has gone through 26 editions thus far. Nestle began his critical Greek edition in 1898.
Okay, so now the reason why he's saying that is, yes, there's lots, but people have to always revise them. With the received text, no one has to, everyone knows, yeah, that's a good, you know what I mean, that's something good, it's a valid source. So now, the guy goes into the next ones, and people also got to re-evaluate them, review this, we got to look over this again. But the received text, where you get the KJV from, no one has to, everyone knows, yeah, that's valid, and that says what it says. Read on. Or you get to the next page.
Cognate languages are simply sister languages related to Hebrew or Arabic, Persian, Syriac, Aramaic, Coptic, and so on. They are related, like brother and sister. A word may not be clear, or maybe to the word that they call haplexagon. Haplex means once, and lemagon means spoken or written.
Okay, so now, the reason why it's saying this is because some people go, well, look, in the Bible, how do you know that word means that in the original language? But now, the people that translated this book, they even knew the hyperlexicons, meaning word that meant something back then. So it's not like they just equated everything to what it means now. They was experts in the language, and they even knew what the definitions of words of languages even meant back then, which even shows the validity of the book. Read on.
The scholars of the KJV are more better than scholars of today.
And you see that there. So now, meaning the people back then, they was experts in it. The people now that write the Bibles, NIVs, they're not experts. But the people of the 1600s, they was good. They knew all languages, and they even knew what what's that word? Hyperlexicon meaning it's a definition of a word that meant something back in the ancient times. You know?
Was more diverse in languages than the scholars of today. Next page.
Oh, wasn't it?
Oh,
Any more that was that?
no.
I know, so then yeah, let's get the next page. So now this is another thing people like to do, King James and witchcraft. And what they like to do, they like to use this book where, you know what I mean, they look at the title of it and go, demonology. King James done witchcraft. And the sad thing is, if they would read a book, it's got nothing to do with King James and witchcraft. You know what I mean? He's in a court and a witch is going to get put to death. And he's writing about it. So now that book, it's got nothing to do with King James doing witchcraft, demonology. He's writing about witches in court. But this is a book that people like to use. You mentioned, you know what I mean? Oh well, so I mean, if you go on about the Bible, what do people like to say? King James, have you read his book, Demonology? And they say that thinking you're gonna be like, bro, like I didn't, you know. And now the sad thing is, this book ain't on about him doing witchcraft. You got people, he read Demonology, yeah, but if you actually read the book, he's not doing witchcraft. He's talking about witches in court. So it shows again, a lot of people like to say stuff, and they don't really know what they're on about. Someone said it to them, they've heard it, YouTube, which is another thing. But yeah, if you would have read the book ain't about him doing demonology. It's about him and a witch in court. And if you want, if you can read some of it.
In form of the dialogue, divided into 3 books by the Most High and Mighty Prince James, was written and published in 1597 by King James I of Scotland, later known as James I of England, as a philosophical and dissertation of the contemporary necromancy and Historical relationship between the various methods of divination used from ancient black magic.
Okay, so now, when you read the book, you mean the people that was going to die, you mean they explain what they was into. They were, I believe in the black magic and this and that arts. So basically the book is explaining what they done, redone.
This included the study of demonology and the methods of demons used to bother troubled men while touching on topics.
So now a witch, they believe that they could put something on you and it could either, make you want to die, make you cry. So he's writing about that like it's what they really think. So now that's what the book is about. Not about King James doing witchcraft. A lot of people like to say that he read demonology and you're meant to go raw, like, damn, I didn't know that, If they actually would have read the book, it's got nothing to do with what they think it means. Read on.
Touches werewolves and vampires. It was a political yet theological statement to educate a misinformed.
And what?
Misinformed.
To educate the misinformed. So he's not doing, he's not doing none of those dark arts. He's educating people. He's like, them witches, this is what they believe. That's what the book's about. Not about King James doing witchcraft. Read on.
Populace on the history, practices, and implications of sorcery, and the reasons for persecuting a witch.
Yeah, read on.
In a Christian society under the rule of canonical law.
Under canonical law, so he took them to court, and they went to law. So that's what the book Demonology is about. Not about King James doing witchcraft and voodoo and stuff like that. It's simply about him talking about witches and what they thought, what they did. Next slide. So now this is another thing people that say King James was a homosexual. Now we went into this already, but if you want, you can read the hasty generalization again.
Hasty generalizations are general statements without sufficient evidence to support them.
So now it's someone that they say something and there's nothing to support it. They say King James is gay. There's no evidence to support that at all. That's a myth, like the fairy tale. King James was not gay, and of course, I'm going to show you with facts that he was not in records, even in his own books. You know what I mean? So now that's a hasty general. That's someone that's just hasty right there. So like, you know what I mean? He's gay, I think so, and just run with it. Read on.
There are genuine claims too hasty made. They commit some sort of illicit assumption, stereotyping, unwarranted conclusion, overstatement or exaggeration.
Exaggeration, and we're gonna see what the exaggeration is about. Just read the false dilemma for me as well.
This fallacy has a few other names: black and white fallacy, either or either fallacy, false dichotomy, and verification fallacy. The line of reasoning fails by limiting the options of two, when there are in fact more options to choose from.
Alright, so now that's another thing people like to do. King James is gay because he had a walkway to another man's room. Yeah, yes he did. But this is where the false dictimony comes into play. They limit it like, well, he has some walkway to someone's room, he's gay. When that's not the case, there's other things to evaluate, and that's what people like to do. You read that and you assume, but he's gay. Like, why do you want? Why would you want to walk into a next man's room? And there's a valid reason why. Next slide. So now, this is a book that King James wrote himself. So this is a valid source. This is what he reads. Now, this is how you back things up. You know what I mean? A lot of people on YouTube and Facebook, you know what I mean? I've seen this where King James is gay. Someone showed me some video, and that's their opinion. They don't show no facts, it's just what they think. Now, this is a book that he wrote himself, and we're going to find out what is in this book, and we're going to find out if even he himself was a homosexual. Read that for me.
Page 117 in the Basilica and the Run. James adopted a severe stance towards sodomy, using towards sodomy.
What's that? Sodomy is homosexuality. King James hated homosexuality. He had a firm stance against this. You know what I mean? He's like, nah, he's not allowing that in his empire.
Adopted a severe stance towards sodomy,
towards homosexuality, yeah?
Using English law. His book on kingship, Basilica and the Run, Greek for royal gift, lists sodomy among those horrible crimes.
Of those what?
Horrible crimes.
Homosexuality is what?
Horrible crimes.
It's a horrible crime. So he was not with homosexuality. You got people. You had a room to like get to. It's like you had a path to get to some next man's room. This man was horribly against that homosexual act in his own book. Read on.
Which ye are bound in conscience, never to forgive.
Never to forgive. So now he told his son, if you have to go to a court because someone did a homosexual act, don't forgive them at all. They must die. King James was against homosexuality.
Nobody tell you cry. You know why? Because I never saw you before. But you are a black man like me. And it works out.
My whole life was trying to find something to follow. Had loyalty, every man tried to borrow. Felt pain and a lot of sorrow. Got betrayed, so packed, I didn't even have my heart broke. Living confused, about to lose hope. Cops got me on the side of the road like a sideshow. Need an antidote before I croak. Now I'm setting fire to rhythm man blues, call this guitar smoke. Rebel with no cause, trying to find direction. The world got me vexed. Picked up a bad liquor habit that's hereditary from oppression. Felt like my life was on fire, trying to find an exit. Now look, 10 G's plus a good wreck. Sometimes a follower is a soldier, trying to find a good shepherd. Plus when you in hell, how do you excel? Wisdom the breath of life, I don't believe in fairy tale. Listen well to what I tell. No calling can cause pain, something that a rebel knows very well. Can't you tell I was sent from the Lord? Got a tongue like a two-edged sword.